And then we already have our two. Then it'll be the country artist and then the UC Bearcat.
Oh. Okay.
So,
Okay. Well,
and
recording
country
now.
artist will be next week, and Bearcat will kind of be whenever. We'll see.
Awesome. Sorry, you were saying that. BPD.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I didn't really know about BPD, borderline personality disorder, until earlier this morning.
Oh, you hadn't heard about it before?
Not really, no. And like, yeah, it's 75% women, but like everything was like so spot on, like all of it though, like, and it's actually like what it is like someone with BPD, their brain is literally different than most people's brains, because when like you react to a negative response, it's going to take you 5 to 10 seconds to hit that rapid response, that initial response,
Mm-hmm.
and then it'll take you about 30 minutes to dial it down. For me with BPD, and you can ask everybody around me, this has been me since like I can recall.
Yeah.
Something negative happens to me, I feel it immediately, and it'll ruin my day, my week, my everything. Like it's literally mentally, it's scientifically you suffer more, even though you're not literally going through like necessarily the most traumatic thing, but the way your processes the emotional state, it processes the emotional state at such an intense rate. I'm like, yeah, that explains a lot. So like,
yeah, I know somebody with it, and
oh really?
yeah, you two are very similar. Yes.
Yeah. No, but that's just so fascinating, man. Like, again, I would never even come to this conclusion without ECT. Like,
Mm-hmm. I definitely thought you knew it. I would have brought that up before.
Yeah, I'm surprised being at UC they did, but I think I just like I hit the bipolar so well that they're just like, yeah, we're just worried about this. Because I think, especially with the bipolar, I think they're more worried about treating that, because that's what does lead to like suicide, and that's what I was there for. So like that was a priority. Right. Oh shit, son!
Hey.
How you gonna rip it like this, son? Can you hear us?
Oh,
we can't hear you.
Can't hear you. Yeah.
He's coming in fancy with the earbuds.
Oh.
Still can't.
No.
I can see you mouthing. The video's working great.
Yes, we can see you.
Still not on the audio. Let me see if I can manually mute and unmute you. Let's see. All right. Now hold on. I just muted you, so let me unmute you. All right, now I'm just doing the most here. Between the email invite and this alone, we have not had this many problems virtually yet. So start the hamster here.
Hello.
All right, I hear you now.
Yeah.
Okay, then I guess my shit just be freezing. That's cool.
Well, we can hear you now.
And
that's good. I'll take that.
Right. Maybe turn the screen on and off, camera on and off.
Are you just on your phone too?
I could be on my phone. That's much easier.
You can be if you want.
That's surprising.
I can be on if you want me to be on my phone, I'll give that a try.
I mean, whatever works for you.
I was trying to be over here. You're trying to be fancy like y'all.
Well, I'm on my phone. I'm on my computer. He's on his phone.
I'm on my phone, so yeah.
Oh. Okay. Well then, let me try this shit again.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry again, guys.
You good?
No, dude, listen. No worries at all.
All right. Let me see.
Yeah, I had to text him the link because, like, in the Google Calendar, it said he accepted it. He's like, "Yeah, I didn't receive it."
Oh.
I'm like, okay.
Weird.
But I don't know if you know this, but I got a background in IT and troubleshooting.
Microsoft Max.
That ain't me, man. That's another thing I discovered this past week. Like,
Yeah.
because like as someone with BPD, like you tend to not identify, like you don't find yourself. See, I never found myself in reality other than like sports.
Yeah.
But like I've always been here spiritually. Like I've always been knowing who I was. Like this is my art. This is my art. This is like I love arts. I love competition. Like as far as like where my role in reality, it just never made sense. And that's even with IT. Like it happened, and that's what paid the bills. But it never mattered anything to me because damn, the phone actually even looks better. So that was
Yeah.
really
This is good quality.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, cool, fine. I was trying to be all technical. Middle school when it comes to technology.
Oh, you good? You good?
no worries. Well, thanks for hopping on to LJ. Philip, are you ready to record?
Yes, we are.
LJ, are you ready to record?
Yeah, well, hey guys, nice meeting y'all, by the way.
Yeah. Nice to
No,
meet you.
thanks for hopping on, man. We're definitely our little background. I know you can see the Instagram, but like we're doing comedy shows and podcasting.
Okay.
And this one comic, we're actually piloting his podcast is coming out, so we're kind of like we're pushing podcasts out because we both before we joined together, we started podcasting this Yes and Yes podcast back in July.
Mhm.
But before that, he had a crypto podcast, I had a sports podcast, and another failed live streaming thing back in 2016. So like we've been in the game, but we finally have joined forces.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
That's awesome. That is great to hear.
Well, so it's nice to meet you. I'm Philip. That's Max. I don't know if you guys met in person already. But
No,
yeah.
but I was just like Diddy. I was just trying to get him to come over to a party.
Dope.
Like, hey, you want to go shopping?
Well, cool. Yeah. We've both been working in entertainment and stuff for a while, and I do more music and acting and crypto stuff, and Max is more sports and comedy. And that's a little bit about us. Feel free to ask any questions if you want, but we can go ahead and get started if you want to do a little intro, Max, for our audio.
Always. Do we hit the record?
Yeah,
This is great
we're
for audio.
recording. Mhm.
Also, Philip is a producer, so audio can be all fixed.
Yeah.
That's his thing. Okay. Yeah.
But welcome to Yes and Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the tremendously talented, I've been following him on Instagram for a few months now. He's actually hilarious. Ladies and gentlemen, LJ.
LJ, welcome.
What's up, guys? What's up?
What does LJ stand for?
Leroy Jenkins. No, it's
That's what I was hoping you'd say.
I know, right? It stands for Lawrence J. Payne. That's pretty much what it stands for. Nothing cool. Ever been
Well, I
cool
was
in my
going to say,
life.
hold on. That was sophisticated as fuck. And this is coming from Axwell Allen. Like,
Ooh.
I'm not used to like fancy, sophisticated people like yourself. Well, okay, LJ. But you can call me fuckface. Just FF.
Oh, okay. That's good.
I am trailer trash. But
Perfect.
so, LJ, I'll go ahead and ask questions. Philip will. I'm the Yaz, like I'm the pizzazz, and I'm crazy. Philip is the yes.
Yeah.
Reality, the
Mhm.
responsible adult. So I'm gonna Yaz. So comedian, comedy. Give us your breakdown of like who, what, when, where, why you got inspired to do comedy.
Okay. My first thing I saw was Eddie Murphy Raw when I was 14, and I was like, oh, I could do this.
Wait, that was your initial response? Like, I saw him do it. I can do this.
Yeah, well, like every new comedian was like, oh yeah, I can do that.
Wow.
And I realized it's crap as hard as hell. Yeah, right. And I was like, oh yeah, Eddie Murphy Raw, yeah, I want to do that. Let's do that. And I always like making people laugh. I was like, yeah, let's do it. I got it. And then 16 years later, you can see my career is up there.
Yet
Yeah,
Yet.
still working. Internet comedians, gotta love them.
Right.
It's a different art form to make a name for yourself in. That's for sure.
Definitely, especially with these new kids who like. Because I know I come from. Well, we come from that era like when internet was still like new, and then we had old school computers and like landlines and
Comedy Central.
Yeah, right.
The comedy goal, and now it's like, I just have TikToks doing crowd work.
Right.
Oh yeah, so annoying.
As soon as Vine came out, I knew it was going down.
Right. Or you got these new comics who post every video, and then like you get like a little laugh, and you're like, "See, tore the house down." You're like,
Catch me headlining.
Right, look at me headline at this bar. You're like, that's great. That's great. When I started doing it when I was 18, I moved to Wichita, Kansas, because at the time they only would do comedy, and as long as you didn't drink, they didn't really care down there. So that's when I did it.
Nice.
And I've been hooked ever since that. Well, being on stage and
in the art.
Yeah, arts of comedy, of course.
Of course.
And the arts of stand-up. And I was like an 18-year-old kid on stage with a big-ass afro and just cussing in front of his parents was probably eye-opening. Because your parents is like, when you're doing stand-up, we're going to come and see you, so go ahead and say what you want. And I was like, what? Okay. And I was like dropping every F-bomb and motherfucking here. I was just doing all that because I was like, I can't get in trouble for this, right? Because I'm pursuing it.
Right, and these are the naughty words. This is fun and exciting. So
Right. You're like, and then your dad would be like, you can't say those so many words. You're like, well, you said I could, Dad, so fuck you, man.
It's cool that they're supportive.
I had the opposite upbringing where my parents would call me a fucking faggot, a piece of shit, you worthless piece of motherfucker. And, so it was I had a little different, but, I hate to make everything about me. I swear I'm not a narcissist, but I come from a narcissistic family line, so I do have to make it about me. Yes and yes. So, yes, I'm not narcissistic, but also, yes, I have to make things about me. Philip, please help me out here. I'm ruining everything right now.
You're fine. So, yeah, I was curious about what keeps you going as far as being a stand-up comedian. Like, is the goal to be stand-up, or is the goal to, also do some sort of comedic film, or also do some sort of, I don't know, other things in comedy? I'm a newbie to understanding comics, so I just kind of want to know about your driving force and what your goals are.
My force is just staying in it is because one, comedy is like a drug. So once you get that laughter, you can't stop, or you slip into depression. We all been there. Just like creative type people, you know what I mean? Like we want that next creative thing and validation, obviously.
Right.
Because we are narcissists. We're just like, oh, we need that attention.
Give me that dopamine hit.
Validation.
Yeah, validation because my parents didn't give it to me.
So get a job, but there's much more to this life than just work. Wait, hold on. What is this?
Exactly. You're just like, I'm just at this 9 to 5 things to pay my bills because I'm a starving artist.
Right.
That's pretty much what I'm here for. Besides the only OnlyFans came around, but what drives me is I just like telling my stories, telling jokes, man, being in front of strangers, and just talking, and maybe they relate to something, and I just love that force. The politics, I don't love so much, but the goal is, yes, to get a stand-up, like a comedy special out there one day. And I know a lot of people are doing that with like Amazon and all that. That's the goal, but also write more, scripts and stuff like that, and comedy films, and that's the goal for me. Maybe make a TV show, and if it only lasts one season, at least I'm like, hey, at least I fucking did it.
Well, I did want to jump in on Philip's question because on your Instagram, like I introed, like I've been following, like what I see, you're really talented. Like you really know what you're doing with doing a script or doing like a little setup or doing a little theme just on a reel. So like growing up, like were you in the Chappelle Show? Were you in the South Park? Like what kind of like Are we in the comedy movies? Like, because obviously you have that artistic. Hey, I'm a stand-up comic. I really resonate and relate, and that's where I get my validation as an artist. But you have that reality sense too, because I mean, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, they were comedians, and obviously Chappelle. Like, what kind of like inspired you to kind of start doing more of that role with writing and making that type of content?
Well, because I was a huge fan of Chappelle shows. Okay. Yeah, I was a huge fan of that.
It's still the best.
He's a goat. Cannot. And and you've seen like old shows back in the day, like Carol Burnett show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those were like great and stuff like that. So like taking a comedian and putting him into that realm is always been inspiring to me. Just something relatable. Like, we all work. So I'll do like a sketch about us, like your management being an asshole or something, or like I'm a coffee person. You know what I mean?
I was going to ask
you guys
about
coffee
that.
people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I'm glad it's blurred out because they're not an official sponsor.
Yet.
No, we're creating our own drink. It's called Mental Maniac and Mental State. So, but see, I'm inspired by Logan Paul, Ohio's own, but except I'm going to do it in a non-greed in LA way. I'm doing this, I'm starting like 7-on-7 usually. I'm doing a lot of cool peer things, and I got Philip here to keep me on that peer cool things. But yeah,
keep you grounded. That's a good relationship. Keep you grounded. One's crazy, one's just chilling. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. Like, let me put the Coke energy into the business stuff, but also like let's keep it all pure and going to good things.
Right.
Like getting the charities. Let's create our own charities. Let's get in the communities. Like again, I'm passionate about sports because I think like sports and youth specifically, like that, like 10 to 18 range, having whatever your sport is, like ballet, soccer, football, baseball, jiu-jitsu, like whatever it is, like having that outlet as a child and being able to learn and be passionate about a sport on top of, because you have to go to school and, don't get see, I'm over here. You see how like I flooded school right away? Because like at the end of the day, that doesn't mean anything. Like you can, I won't get too deep into it, but like, I'll put it this way. So my personal path, like I barely graduated high school and I'm a community college dropout, but I still got Microsoft certifications and worked for Meta.
Okay.
With that, the traditional education route. I actually fucked my way into an IT career. And not just because my name is Max Lay. Hey now. For some reason, I have strangers come up to me and be like, "Oh, Max Lay, better watch out." I'm like, "What? Oh, really?" Like, but anyways, like, no, it was literally, I had a girlfriend at the time. I was working at Best Buy, and I was dating a girl there, and her father just happened to be a director of IT at this company, and he was just being a good dad. He's like, "Oh gosh, my girl's in a relationship with this dipshit. We better give him like health benefits just in case."
Just in case, yeah. Well, it's a good looking. That's a good looking father who's out for his eyes. Like, yeah, all right, you chose him. All right, well, let's get him something in this world so you can.
Yeah, let's put some insurance on this relationship just in case.
Right, just in case, at least have dental or something.
I took that like basic level help desk role, and I conquered the IT field. Now I'm gonna start my own IT business. So like, but I wouldn't be that way in that creative way if I didn't have like football or if I wasn't into art. Like, because that's all I cared about was music, comedy, and sports, and competitive gaming. I think is an outlet of like not just competition, but there's art within whatever video game you actually play competitively. So like, but that's just how I'm set. But also,
I mean,
parents hearing me talk about, "Hey kids, don't worry about school." Like, I'm not saying that at all. Like, for sure, go to school, and like I love kids who actually love reading and stuff like that. But me, one of them reading kinds, like,
yeah. Like, no, I get that. I'm the same way. I barely graduated high school too. I was working a part-time job trying to graduate high school, but also going to another school to make up the credits so I can graduate high school. And then I tried community college for business, and then I was like, this is dumb. And I'm not, I'm not like, this is, education is not for everybody. Education, if you are very passionate about education and going to college, by all means do it. But yes, some people just don't do that way. Some people think differently. Some people I understand the art of business. I understand like marketing in a way, but do I know how to make business in a way to create my own business? No, I probably can't, because that's a lot of stuff I would never understand.
Not yet. You're talking.
Not yet.
Right here.
Not yet.
Right. You're right. You're absolutely right. But I just, for me, it's just I knew this business about comedy, and and understanding what a brand is for yourself. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And how to market yourself in a brand that could be making money, down the line or something. But with other people, and just like making billions of dollars. You're like, I started this coffee business. You guys want to, you guys want this coffee? Like that, I probably couldn't wrap my hand around. But can I invest in something that people use every day? I understand that part,
And how?
But anything past that.
Well, I was gonna ask, how do you brand yourself? Like, what would you consider yourself like, as far as comedic wise?
How I brand myself as just like somebody who you can relate to and have fun. You have some comedians are very political, so that's their way going over here. You have some comedians or people who are very observant of the world or whatever, and I'm just the person like I talk about my family. You can laugh at my family.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a good example, if you really want to look at these kind of things of like writing and getting to that sort, is the Wayans brothers, like the Wayans family.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Those guys are huge in doing that, making their own movies. One of Marlon is doing stand up, and might not like the last one, but he's doing stand up. He's doing all this stuff.
He's getting better.
He's gotten better. Yeah. I don't know about that last special he did, talking about him. He just talked about a guy coming to his house and he's like, "Oh, you want to have sex with my daughter? Motherfucker, then you better do it well." I'm like, that's Marlon. I don't know what you into, buddy, but that's not.
In order to fuck my daughter, you gotta fuck me first. All right.
You're like, bro,
you try to say, but you can't say because no Diddy.
Yeah, you're like, you can't. I don't know what you into. I would never put my daughter out like that.
Right.
So like my brand is just, relatable stuff. It just, even if it's just having fun. And I feel like comedians are just not having as much fun as you used to.
Yeah.
And it's like that old school comedy that I feel like everyone misses.
Yeah.
And that's
you talk about everybody.
Right.
Like, because like we've been doing the live shows recently, and I'm a comedy connoisseur. So like I go out to open mics. I'm on Instagram. It's like, all right, people are actually gonna like these comics, these comedians. But like with the business side of comedy in general, though, so we're in Ohio, which is also kind of like basically, I mean, we got Funny Bones, shout out, and obviously if you're a touring comedian, he's already established, you're going to do your theater tours and anything like that. But like, there's a desire for like, hey, I want to go to a comedy show, but like, other than going to some shit bar, there isn't really a market for that. So like, what we've been doing is creating this market where there's like, all right, people, basically breweries is our marketplace, and there's already people spending money, but people are there to socialize and laugh, and to actually bring on comedians and do it on like a legit comedy show. And I'm gonna do this on the record, man. I'm talking shit about Go Bananas, man. And I don't know if they have comedy clubs or shows like this out where you're at, but on a Friday night, they'll have like 5 to 10 comedians, and they say, "Here you go." Like, an audience isn't really there for all that. Like, 3 is really the recipe. You can have a 4th or a 5th if it's like 5-minute sprinkles, but like they're there to see the bow, 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 and then get out. Because that you have like an amazing lineup and all this fun stuff, unless it's like straight up like Bert Kreischer's what's the tour? The Fully Loaded tour, where he just brings on like Big J Okerson, Shane Gillis, Mark Norman. Like, other than that, but even that again, that's its own festival. They're selling out like baseball parks and shit like that. But like, generally going out to a comedy show, people like, even if you have like 3 electric comics, after that third one, they're ready to wrap it up.
Oh, yeah, they're done. Oh yeah, they're done.
People got to go back to kids. They got to get ready for work. They got to do this and that. Like, people don't have, and that's what's like fascinating about like the comedy business, at least here in like the Midwest, like not just Ohio, but the entire Midwest. It's like, if it's local comedians put on a comedy show, it's not a good comedy show for an audience. Like,
right.
But for the comedians, they're just happy to be there because the only way you get better at your craft is by performing in front of a live audience. So, like, they're just happy to be there because of stage time, but like, they don't really realize, like, you know, the comedians should be still doing that, but like, there needs to be more like legit comedy shows going, and that's where the Lay Down Comedy Hour comes in. Shameless promotion. But
shameless plug.
What you guys are doing, I've been following you guys too. You guys have been doing a good job. Keep it up. You know what I mean? Keep it up. Even, you know, I've been seeing some of the like clips of your podcast with the mental health and everything. Just keep doing what you're doing, and it's a good thing that you guys are putting shows out there like that, because it is for those comics. But like, have the structure of, I feel like with comedians, if there's so many,
yes,
you cannot. It's like you cannot have so much, because about time it gets to you or me or you know, oh boy over, you know, Philip over here, they'll already be tired. So none of your jokes would work. Right. And then so I feel like if you're putting a show on together, and you say you have, I don't know, 5 comedians, right? And you should know if who's your, not, I would never say the weakest comedian, but you know who just can't hit those things, you know, who's not very energetic. You should put that person up first, kind of get them out of the way.
Yeah.
And if you have the one
UFC analogies for that, because like, you know, it's because I just hate titles in general. So like, I don't like featuring headliner opener, but like, you do have to know who's your like strawweight, your featherweight, who's your lightweight, but then who's the heavyweight, who's the John Jones, like who's really gonna like knock him out. Like, it's good to like know that and understand that, but also understand that from even though obviously arts in general, but especially comedy, it's very subjective. So like, people have different favorite comedians, but there is an objective way of being like, you know, regardless of what people are individually subjectively liking, they're going to objectively know this guy's bringing thunder. So like, there is a sauce to that, where comedians and comics themselves that are just kind of just throwing a show together and getting shit going, they're not really thinking about the objectively looking at the crowd. And even like, I've even talked to comics like, oh, this crowd was shit, my jokes was this and that. Like, it's like, nah, man, like the structure bad.
I mean, right, the structure is bad, but also you have to look into like the person who's running the show, the person who's hosting the show, the person who came after the host. Like, if you have a person who's producing a show and he can barely give a shit, then the crowd ain't gonna give a shit. Or like, if the host ain't giving a shit, then definitely the crowd ain't gonna give a shit, you know. And then you have like me in there struggling, trying at least to get the crowd up to like here,
right?
Yeah. And then I put all this work in, and then you bring one of your comedians who you know is not like really good, and it brings it back down. So then it's a fluctuation of like energy, or you know what I mean, like how to keep it
build.
Right, you know, for people to be like, you know, then it just, you can't do that. And I know that's like some comedians who are running shows kind of make the mistake. You have the differentiations between who's your friend and who's actually talented. I'm not saying that no one's talented in that structure. I'm just saying like, who's better skilled at doing kind of this. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you know, have a fluctuation of a rotation of people you bring in. Like, also it tires out people who keep supporting your show, like the dead hard people who come to support you guys. If they keep seeing the same people, you're not going to see them anymore because they're going to say the same jokes they said 15 times they've been there. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I feel like with producers and comedians who have friends and comedians, I feel like they make that mistake a lot.
Yeah.
And the people who are talented don't get as much work because they're like, oh yeah, this guy hung out with me. Let's just say like we hung out until like 3:00 in the morning, but then old boy over here, he's like, well, I gotta go home because I gotta wake up in the morning. And he's funny as hell, right? He's killing it. But me and you hung out, all three of us hung out at like 3:00 in the morning. You're like, oh yeah, this guy's cool. Yeah, come on my show, come on the show. And this guy who had to work 10:00 in the morning strolls in. He's like, hey, can I get on? No, you know, we don't really have me in the room. And then I stroll in. I was like, what's up, y'all? Hey, go get some stage time.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that's the problem with the big markets, because comedy big markets, it's L.A., New York, Texas. Like, those are the big markets. And, like, for some reason, the rest of the states haven't studied their tape. Like, you got Legion of Skanks out there in New York. I mean, now they're doing Skink Fest and all sorts of crazy stuff and all the podcasts. You have the Comedy Cellar, all the greats. Even Chappelle still goes to the Comedy Cellar. Like, so you got to respect that crowd. You got to see what Austin's doing now with the Mothership, with all the podcasts that are coming out there. Kill Tony, Joe Rogan, Your Mom's House, the Thompson Girls. And then in L.A., you still got bada bing, bada boom, bada boom, bada boom. LA's not really my flavor, but it's still popular and big. Like,
yeah, it's like less about worrying about, you know, your friends, like you said. It's not. It doesn't need to be as political as it is. And then I see the same thing in music and in acting, where it's like, let's look for people who are actually good at their craft instead of somebody who schmoozed me for the evening. You know, it's so frustrating. When you have people who are successful, because those people, you know, maybe they need to go to bed. They have other things that they're trying to do. They're successful because they're working hard and not chilling out and hanging out with you. You know, and that needs to be respected more often, I feel.
I feel that too. I feel like if we turn that around, comedy or any of the industries would be more successful because you'll have more people who will come out who are fans of comedy or music or you know, whatever the thing is. I feel like that would be, and because you can't tell me like no one's ever sit there in this industry, sat down, and you know you're good. It's not an ego thing, but you know you're good, right? And you know you're better than that one guy or that one girl, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And that person, because they know somebody, got on stage, and you're like, this motherfucker got on this show?
Right.
This show that's putting more eyes on him? This person did? And just get like minuscule laughs, right? Because he played the game right a little bit. Right. And I feel like that's frustrating for itself. And then you're just like, but you put on a bad show, producer. Right. You put a bad show.
And then it gives the audience a bad taste. And they're like, I don't want to see another comedy show because it's actually not that fun to go because these comics aren't fun. It's like, and then it ruins the whole...
Back to business. Even here locally in Cincinnati, like, so we did a show at this brewery called Sonder Brewing, and shout out Sonder Beer. Sonder is an official sponsor of the podcast.
Delicious.
You know, but like, Sonder was just more like, we haven't done a comedy show yet. We've been wanting to do a comedy show. Let's do it. And then I've gone to other venues, like bigger, like size-wise breweries, and they're like, yeah, we've done a comedy thing before, but it didn't go well. But we want comedy, but we don't trust comedy. It's like, oh, because it was probably Go Bananas people coming over. And
probably.
Right.
It's like, it is oddly here in Cincinnati, there is like a kind of like its own weird monopoly of like mediocrity. And I'm here to like, nah, we're changing that. But yeah,
as you should,
right?
And like, obviously entertainment in general too, but specifically comedy. It's been very fascinating to just be studying and a fanboy of comedy. But now I'm like engraved into like the local comedians grind, because so far all of our guests have been comedians so far on the podcast, and like just hearing everyone's different grinds and struggles and stages in life, both personally and comedically, and then me myself as like the one putting on shows and doing shit, like I don't know. It's very fascinating and interesting. But we're here doing all these shows because I hate myself. All right, I have mental issues. Let's talk about mental health.
Great segue, like it.
Yes.
Very natural segue here. No, I spent most of my life hating myself, being very self-deprecating, and that's why I've always actually loved comedians, because that's when you see like the great comedians that I'll say besides Chappelle, but like there's like a hint of like self-deprecation, but like from an honest perspective too, and they're able to like evolve and go beyond that. But you yourself, you know, I battled suicide for recent years because I've done all the accolades and everything on paper as far as like the reality realm. Like I've been a stepfather, and then I met the love of my life. Things just didn't work out. And because of that, like that defeat, 100% got to me and deflated me. But now I'm going thanks to Philip and all my support system. But like, what we're kind of like,
it was on you, Philip.
Yeah.
Certified therapist, I guess.
Yes. But for you, like, and obviously, just the industry itself can be very defeating and deflating. But also, you're a human being. You have your personal life. Like, what were some of your? You don't have to be as specific as you want to or vague as you want to. But like, what were kind of your lows personally? What caused those lows, and then what also got you kind of going back up?
So just like you, man, I fight a lot with depression and you know, suicidal stuff too. It's you know, it's always constantly in some people's heads, you know, and that's just a constant battle all the time. Like my lowest point when I was 20, and I'm in Vegas and I'm 20 years old, and you know, I don't really have nothing going on for me. Young,
Yeah,
I have nothing. Literally had nothing. Really didn't have a home. I was just homeless. This was like the third time I was homeless in my life. And then so I got a call, and dude's like, "Hey, come do the show. You know, we get you one money or whatever." And you know, and I was just like, "What's the?" You know, I was like, "Yeah, I agreed to it," but I was like, "What's the point?
Yeah,
this is gonna be another dead fucking end.
Yeah.
You know, what's the point? I just better be like off. You know what I mean? Like out of here." And then what's up, bud?
I said I totally understand that. Yeah.
And then I, you know, was crossing the street to catch the bus, and a car came and hit me, took me out.
Damn.
And right?
Damn. Yeah.
And I mean, I'm sorry, that was way too deep. That was just
Man, I'll go into details about mine. I tried buying a gun at a gun store. I actually had a plan, all right? And I go to the gun store, and I thought this was America, all right? Now, maybe if I was like a 14-year-old trying to buy a gun, maybe I would have actually been able to purchase the gun. But I was unable to purchase a gun. So, but yeah, I had this plan, I had this thing, and no one knew about it. So, like, I was like legit over. And but this was at 32. And again, I've like lived the life, and it still ended up empty. I'm like, well, if I can't protect and provide, that's literally all I'm meant to do. Like, then why am I fucking here? But I wasn't able to purchase a gun, so then I kind of like panicked and didn't know what to do. So I was like, I guess I'll jump off this bridge. I guess. But then like that's kind of when I started doing my cry for help, because I was also actively texting all my friends and family goodbye. Like I texted my cousin like, here's the playlist for my funeral. Go. Like I was over, and then like motherfucking policeman, fuck 5-0, man. They geo-tracked my ass. And then they sent my ass to the loony bin, and I got the treatment I needed, which was electrical shock treatment. And that's where they like literally put you under, physically give you a seizure, and then electrocute you, some common sense into your brain. So that's what I need.
The old shocking treatment. Yeah.
But I do want to let him finish his story, because I do have to leave at 1. But I want to hear the rest of this.
All right.
But I'll let you guys keep going.
What time is it?
It's 12:55.
12:55, yep.
Okay.
I'll keep it short. Well, the thing is, I got hit by a car, and I went totally blank. I blanked out. You know, when I got knocked out, obviously.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, oh, cool. And like in my head, I was like, oh, I'm dead. And it didn't and I just came to, I was in the ambulance, whatever, and then it just hit on me. Is just like, I might have these thoughts, I might have all these things, but it'd be selfish of me if I took myself out, because you're not just leaving, you're not, it's an easy thing to do that, but you're leaving the people here on earth who actually care about you suffer more than yourself, and that would be more selfish for me. So, and I deal with all that crap though too, but at least that keeps me back. And it's like I don't want to do that because it's selfish. It's an easy way out. Life is beautiful, and life is meant to be hard, but you have to take the moments that you love your loved ones and people who care about you. You got to be there, and if you can't be there for yourself, you got to be there for them. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So with me now is just, if I get that way, depression or whatever, I just create stuff.
Perfect. There we go. That's what we're looking for.
That's a whole loop around.
Yeah. I'll say this for because before I did what I did when I was 32, I didn't really understand it or realize it or acknowledge it. I just always knew that I was fucked up and I had demons. And I really liked the band Korn and really love Slipknot, what they have to say, but like
Nickelback.
Yeah, but I was a gym bro. I was in there for 2.5 hours. I was trying to just outlift my demons, and there's a lot of obviously if we're just talking science, there's a lot of chemical releases to the brain, and physical activity is good and all that. But dude, that shit's not enough. The real way to express and get through pain and moments of pain is through creativity and art. And whatever art that is, if it's just literally writing, reading, music, comedy, that's the real medicine. And I always I was taught that all that shit was gay. So that's why I just kept going to the gym and kept playing video games, and we're like, oh, let me get bitches, let me get my body count up, that's all that matters, man. No.
Right.
You're still not finding yourself, because you're not going to find yourself. You're not going to be because as a great man, James Keenan once said, Philip is probably exhausted from hearing this, but we are spirit bound to flesh. Yes and yes. So yes, there is reality. There's bills to pay. We have to live lives. We are going to die one day. We live, breathe, we die. Yeah. But also, yes, what creates emotions? What creates feelings? What creates the sads and lows? That's your spirit. That's your spirit. In order to get your spirit going, you have to be with art. And nature is art. Sports, there's so many things. There's art in literally everything, because we as humans have created all these things. And so it's important for humans to keep creating whatever it is, even with family dynamics and stuff like that. No, it's people just need to chase their art.
They do.
Yes.
They do.
And I specifically talk to the young men because I see the young men, and I've been that young man of well, yeah, I'm not doing well, and my girl left me, or this and that, or whatever happened, and I can't get the job. But I bench 425 and squat. That's good. It's no.
Figure this stuff out.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that what you went through too, Phil, man? Because you all calm and stuff over there. And I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. So it is one, so I do have to run. Before right as it came to me, but hopefully this is a short meeting and I can just hop right back on. But I'll let y'all keep cooking, and if you guys are still here, I will hop back in and kind of tell you what I went through. So.
All right. To hear it.
All right. To continue, but LJ, yeah, we'll keep it cooking. We'll keep it going.
Yeah. What's that?
All right. Thanks, Philip.
Cool guy.
Yeah.
Like that, man.
Do what?
I said a cool guy. I like that, man. I see why you guys are really good friends.
No, Philip rules. And actually, our origin story happened. So I'm 33. I think he's 30, 31, 32 range, whatever. He's a father, has a wife, living a life. But we met back in, we were 16, juniors in high school, and we had a summer job. That's how way back we go. So we had a summer job, lifeguarding, and I clicked with him back then, but the reason why I did what I did when I was 32, the actual playing the full suicide, actually doing it, was because the death of hope occurred. and I fell in love with this girl. We were out there living the life out in Washington State, and that's where she's from. And I got connected to her familia and all this stuff, and everything was beautiful. But like, I wasn't a complete person yet, so like, and I have or had borderline personality disorder.
Mm-hmm.
So my brain just always is in worst case scenario all the time, anyways. And I also had bipolar disorder, so I had BPD and BB. I had all the I had the ABCDEFGs, man. But like, that was out in Washington State, and then like when she ended up leaving me, because of course she did, because I was a fucking nightmare to be around. But like, when that happened, I had so much emotional investment into her because she was my security blanket. She was the angel to rescue me. Like, she was my everything. So when she left, I was like, that's when I went like full hypomanic cokehead. Like, well, I can get her back, but I'll save the world. I'm gonna create an app to save the world. I'm gonna make trillions with the T. I went full yay. I went full everything. And like, my family back in Ohio was like, dude, what the fuck is going on? So they felt like they had to be on a rescue mission to bring me back to Ohio. But
okay.
So once I came back to Ohio in November of 23, from November of 23 to January of 24, I was still, I had job. I was still working. Like, I actually had a top secret clearance type of job. So, I was doing the thing. But I was still trying to get her back. And it ended up just not working out. And once that official, like, her being like gone, and me looking around, that when the death of hope legitimately occurred. Not like, because obviously everyone has different levels of hopes and dreams, and you're talking about being 20 and like you're like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, that's very understandable suicidal situation. Like, very obviously, like, especially as a young man, it's like, the fuck, and you look around, it's like the fuck. You compare yourself at 20s, but like me, like, I in my 20s, I was so like gun ho on making a life in a world for my kids to have a good life. Like, I was so focused on like starting my own family, and like to like have a taste and be able to. Yes, I did it in my 30s, and then for it to be like ripped from me, I was like, oh, well, I have no more purpose of being here. Like, I'm not long for this world, and that feeling of like helplessness. And I'll say this, like, specifically, obviously women have this too, but men, we suffer in silence.
Oh yeah.
And like, women kind of have, especially like 20s to 30s range, women have that bounce back ability a lot more. Like, they'll get on their Ice Spice, red, sexy, whatever those girls are, which I'm all about that, man. That's awesome. I don't need no man, fuck no man. I get my money. Like, rumble, young ladies rumble. But like, men, like, yo, we suffer, man. Like, when we're in the weeds, we're in the weeds. But also it's because men aren't comfortable with talking to emotions with other men. So even though, like, I've always had friends. Like, I'm a very personable guy. I'm very quick to connect with humans. And, but dudes specifically, they're like, emotions, what? Or like, oh, you're suicidal? Yeah, that's fucked up, bro. Just get a job, go to the gym, you'll be all right. It's like, nah, man, I can do all these things. But try to go to sleep. Yeah. Like, or while I'm at work, like, so like, everything's kind of in the back of your head during the day as you're being a functional person in reality, but your spirit is crushed. And when that spirit is crushed, it's like, that just catches up, and eventually it can lead to addictions. So I was a big grunge guy, Nirvana, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, and the four of those guys off themselves, so I was into and that's the thing with dudes too. Like, dudes will like drink beer and get into music and stuff like that, but not really like have an opportunity to fully reflect or fully like even like try and get help, regardless if it's therapy or whatever. But that's why I think like there needs to be like more like, for dudes, there needs to be like more like, you can call it men's groups, and like churches have it and shit like that. But like, for like a common dude, like, we just get on YouTube and try to figure shit out, and then But like that's the things with dudes, we try to figure shit out. We suffer silently, but we also try to succeed silently too. And once we're succeeding, that's when we want to unveil ourselves to the world. Where it's like there needs to be more like groups that are more like understanding, talking, being able to be there for each other, especially in moments of crises. Like you got to have people there. Like that's kind of like one thing I'm trying to do with the comedians specifically, because there is a common denominator of depression with all comics, regardless of how outgoing they are with it or not. Like some are very acknowledging, self-deprecating, all that, but some of them are like they have this big fake ego because their ego is what keeps them away to keep the demons at bay. But like I'm trying to create more like open-mindedness and open-heartedness of being able to actually communicate and talk and being okay to be vulnerable. Because like, man, we only feel okay being vulnerable to our mothers and our partners. Like that's the only times you feel like emotionally, or to me, like my grandma. Like, but
Yeah.
like because you went through what you did in your 20s and you got like an opportunity and were able to get past them. But like currently, like within the past like 3 years of your life, today, the past 3 years, have you had like a good circle? Do you have a good support system, or is your support system like just online and relating to other people in the world across the world?
I have a good support system, but I have friends from I grew up with, like Vegas and stuff. Like, originally from Vegas, so I have a good system of friends. But it's more like, so like I come from a family like no news is good news. So we don't really talk, we don't really reach out. But if it ever gets to that point, then we will reach out to one another about like that. But we're like family, so we don't have to talk every day, we don't have to text every day, but we're there. And you're absolutely right. You know what I mean? Like there's no safe space for men to kind of like talk amongst ourselves about feelings and shit. Because we are kind of gay, but we're problem solvers. You know what I mean? So we have to solve the problems, but it's just that if we I feel like the problem is we go to our homeboys about these problems, they're gonna want to solve our problems.
Yes.
But we were just like, no, but I just want somebody to listen. And I feel like that's the hardest part, because we do that to our spouses. Our girls come to us, hey, and you're trying to like, we can do this, and you're like, well, I just want you to listen. And you're like, yeah, I got that, but like, I hear what you're saying, but go solve that, and then we'll move on forward. But I have a good system for it, but also I feel like, what I went through and what you went through, we have to be those pillars, like what you said, to these people to still give us a safe space. Like I have men friends, I have married friends who were in relationships and stuff like that, and I try to give them the safe space that they can talk about whatever is happening.
And husbands, fathers really need that. Oh my God, dude. Am I crazy? Or, and you just honestly in those spots, you just have to agree and give them a hug. Like, yeah, that's fucked up, man, but you're a man and you're doing your best, and just give yourself some time for yourself. And I always, like I said earlier, but like I keep emphasizing this, like, bro, just get lost in art. Like, give yourself some time to do some you time on your own shit, or bring the kid involved and do it with the kid. Like, but like all the time with like even like soldiers, like the suicide awareness with soldiers, because I mean they live their life to do this, and then they have these connections and lives and bondings with friends that are like brothers to them, and then they die, or they get out of the military, or they get kicked out, and they're in the civilian world. It's like, well, now what? I was in the military, that was straight, and now I'm in this world where it's ran by gays. So, or like whatever their conflict is,
whatever their little thing is.
Yeah, that's maybe dumbing it down, but like basically, like once a man's mission gets lost or the mission's complete, and it's like a now what, or you go on the missions and you keep failing, and it's now what. Like men get to that point of like, well, now what? And even in relationships, like you can see like a married dude like all of a sudden cheating on his wife, or he's doing like in the weird shit. Like, well, what's really going on, man? Like, it's all her fault. But anyways,
We all don't know what happens behind closed doors, with shit like that. But I feel like that with the married part, I feel like that mentality is happy wife, happy life, and I
Yes.
feel like that needs to go. And in a certain fact, it's like I'm making her happy, so I gotta be miserable. So everything she needs, I don't need because this is just what I do. And yes, providing and doing all that for your spouse is what a man does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like we need to change that. Happy house, happy spouse. You know what I mean?
I love that. Happy house, that's the bar, son.
Right? I'm just saying. Happy house, happy spouse.
That's why it's so important to like when you're making that marriage commitment, or even if you're not married but you're living in the same house, happy house, happy spouse. Like, that's got to be your person, and that person's got to know you for you. Because like this is the problem with America, and I've been victim to this, but I've always been ahead of the game. But like with the whole even just like mating process, and this is my little like stress thing, by the way. I just asked out of camera, like, what's this random peak thing? But with the whole like mating process, as a man and as a male, you need a peacock. You need to look good, be presentable, look like you have money, so a woman feels secure to be with you, so you can have sex. And then once you have sex, and yeah, it's great. But like, because like I was in that like mating process, mating mentality, but like I was also in that like I'm not gonna find a wife, I'm not gonna find a wife, not gonna find a wife, and like, but I can say this because I finally found this for the first time at 31. I found my wife, like boom, and like the whole time when we met, like to be transparent, I was full sugar daddy website, like, and I was, bro, I was out there, man, and it wasn't even like actual prostitution transactions because that's kind of what the women are there for, but they're there for their business and their hustle and all that, right? They're OnlyFans, and then they see my dumb ass. I'm 30, attractive. Why are you on this side? And then like they hit me up like not even thinking I'm real. And then they find out I'm real. And bro, all these girls would just show up and like they would just hang out and like, wait, you're stable? Hold on, like,
right.
like bro, I had a good time, but like also I'm on that website because I'm lost and broken. They're on those sites because they're lost and broken. So like when I found my person, we had that like that's where we met. But like the first time I met her, I had where all the other girls is like, yeah, what you want from Starbucks? What you want from, like I'll take care of that shit. Whatever, money don't mean shit. But with her, when I first met her, I got to be myself immediately. Like the second I saw her on FaceTime, I started here. I'll show you what I did. So because I was in my like little office because I worked remote. That's cool to show off too. Like, oh yeah, me and my business. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, oh hey, let me show you what I do for a living. I do a lot of this. And then I was like, all right, well, hey, I have to go to my next meeting. Bye. Click. And ever since then, like she was hooked, I was hooked. Like I just knew she was the one, and I could like truly be myself.
Right.
Because I've grown up, and bro, my grandparents were divorced. Like I've seen nothing but divorce growing up. So, but now I'm like seeing like successful marriages and successful teams, and like what you see is like how they fall in love and what they love about each other is like it's more like they're best friends,
Mm-hmm.
And it is hard to find, but like you're only gonna find that person when you're not trying to find it in a weird way. But you have to be 100% comfortable and confident in yourself and what you want and what you can bring to the table, and then it'll just happen. But
I agree.
But
I agree with it.
And then to be on like the spiritual level, because like I was always about music. My love is music, like music. And she came in once we went on a date, did all the stuff. I found out she's really into music, and then she's into Kendrick. I'm Eminem. Eminem and Kendrick made one song called "Love Games," and then like I love this band called Rage Against the Machine. She's half Hispanic. The lead singer of Rage Against the Machine is Hispanic. His name's Zach De La Rocha. Zach De La Rocha's great grandfather was in the Mexican Revolutionary War type shit. So like, he's Rage Against the Machine, and I'm the band Tool. And Maynard and Zach De La Rocha, they Tool and Rage Against the Machine. They did one song together called "Know Your Enemy," and we're on the same levels about establishments, politics, systems, society. Like once you're on that vibe, and energy and that understanding with someone, that's the person you get with. Because what happens a lot, especially here in the Midwest at least, I think it's obviously nationwide too. Young, dumb, full of cum. Now there's a baby. Got to try to build a house.
Oh yeah, that honeymoon phase bullshit. Yeah.
Like, that's why I wish like the dating process in general wasn't so vain and so peacocking.
Yeah, I feel like because a lot of relationships is well, one, I would just say this, like, one, I feel like you have to be 100% yourself. You know what I mean? You have to be, and individuality in a relationship is fine. It's okay. You're not gonna like everything else. Is it okay when you first guys start dating, you're trying to figure stuff out and you lose yourself in a relationship? That's normal, right?
Yeah.
But you would have to figure out, you'd be like, okay, well, this is me. I'm 100% me. So whatever, and you're 100% you. And if we just didn't work out, it's fine. At least we can leave this relationship saying, at least, you know, we were who we were, and this is how it happened.
Yeah.
And that's fine. You know, we don't gotta like the same thing. We can do different things, but still grow in a relationship.
And that's the one thing, because like jealousy is a big thing where like people, regardless if it stems from insecurities or just general, like, I don't want my man associating with other women, or this, they're just like threatened by someone's independence, regardless of what that is. Because exactly what you're talking about, like you gotta be your own individual on your own time, but also like you shouldn't encourage each other being individuals. Like, because
I mean, like individuals, like you're who you are,
right?
You say what you say in your, you know, as a person. Same thing as I say what I say as a person. I'm not saying go out and be like, well,
don't be wild, but yeah,
right. What I'm saying is like, I'm LJ, 100%.
Yeah.
My fiance is who she is, 100%. I'm not saying like she likes. Let's just put it. I like going to dive bars, right? I like drinking whiskey and just like hanging out a bar quietly and just chilling, right?
Yeah.
She likes going to, right? Just a little bar kind of guy, just you know, whatever. You know, and we're like, you know, go to the dive bars and write material and drink. That's because I kind of like my alone time because that's just who I am. I've always been that way.
Yeah.
She likes to go out with her friends and drink cocktails and go to little fancy bars. I don't get him. Why would you pay $20 for a sample of a cocktail? I don't know why, but it's the experience. Right. But that's what I mean. Like, she likes drama. I like, you know, comedy. You know, she likes to, you know, she likes certain type of music, and I don't. I love wrestling, and she likes whatever. Having different, what I mean, like individuality, I mean, like having different hobbies is fine.
Yes.
Go and separate and go do things. Have friendships out of your relationship. You guys don't always have to do the same thing all the time.
Right.
You know, because you can miss each other. That's fine. It's not a big deal. You know, or she's like, me and my girl's going out. You know, we're leaving town for the weekend. And, you know, most guys are like, oh, don't leave me. Why can I go? You know, most people are like that. Not me. I'm like, get the hell out. Get out. Like, it's just, get out.
Yeah, my ex, you know, she always had her girl time and cruises and shit like that. And yeah, same thing socially. She likes doing the this and yas. And I'll just be at home chilling. Like,
right.
Just let me chill with the dogs.
Right. I'm just like, get the hell out. I'm fine. I love you and I miss you, but I can't miss you if you ain't gone. So get out. You know. Have fun, be safe, but have fun. But I feel like in the marriage thing, well, you know, just the relationship. Like I feel like, so me and my fiance have been together for like 11 years, right?
Congratulations, man.
Thank you. You know, we're getting married in like October, so like in a month. So you know.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah. So what I feel like, because you have to think about it. You guys first get together. You got the 6 month of the honeymoon phase, right? And then you make it a year. And you're like, we made it a year. That's another honeymoon phase. And then you guys move in together. That's another honeymoon phase. And then you celebrate being together for that 1 year living together, right? Because it's like magical when you get the honeymoon phase. And then the dude proposes or the girl forces the guy to propose. Doesn't, you know, whatever the situation may be. And then you guys are engaged. Right. And then you have to get the engaged. And then that's another honeymoon phase, right? And then you get married, and that's another honeymoon phase. And then, somehow she gets pregnant or whatever, and that's a honeymoon phase. So then you have the span of 3 years of honeymoon phases of not getting to know somebody. And then when all that's gone and all that honeymoon phase is done, then you realize who this person is and then who this person is, but you already have a kid together. So then you get divorced because you can't hack it out. But this is the relationship part. You have to always work at relationships.
Yes.
Doesn't matter. Always have to work at them.
Teamwork makes work. Like,
exactly. But then there's some guys who do happy wife, happy life, and they just go with it, and then it kills them. But that's when I come in with a happy house, happy spouse, because it's not your relationship, it's not my relationship, it's our relationship. You know what I mean? And I have old heads in my ear all the time. Oh, LJ, you got to pick your battles. I pick every battle.
Yeah.
I don't give a damn. I'm picking every. We finna not fight all the time, but I'm not gonna be here. You'd be like, you're a piece of shit, and then I'm be like, oh, okay, all right, well, no, we fight. That's just what we have to, So that's what I mean. Like, I feel like if you really choose this person, you really want to be with this person, and don't take my, thing for being together for 11 years and then finally getting married. I feel like you should be engaged or getting married or live with somebody at least 5 years. That's just me.
You don't think you should do it within the first month? Because I met the love of my life, and I tried moving with her within the first 6 months, and then we lived together out in Washington State. So I told you about the relationship. It was only a year and a half, but it was a fast relationship. But that's because I never dealt with my demons that I didn't realize I had. That was my biggest problem. Like, I truthfully still today, like, I think it was more of a, specifically in our relationship, it was just a timing thing. Where, like, she was into me and all that, but, like, I brought in that fatherhood that, we're building a tribe, we're building the village. Like, you don't understand, girl. Like, but I also at the same time was always like a gigantic proponent of, like, do your own fucking thing. Like, I'm a lot to be around. Get the fuck out. But, like,
right.
I'm a very, like, serious person, and, like, I think, and I didn't realize that at the time at all, but, like, where, like, I fell in love with her, like, motherly nature, like, because, again, I'm a very deep, intense, emotional person, because, like, reality doesn't mean shit to me, and what you described was a real solid reality timeline, because at the end of the day, there's this thing called bills, right? Like, there's this thing called money management, and then there's gonna be kids, more bills, more stress. There's all these stresses that you have, and, like, until you guys are, like, really honest with each other, which either A, takes time, or B, really just got to work it out right away, like, you really don't know. So, like, my timing and my problem was like, I'm trying to build a village now. She was younger. She still wanted, even though she's traveled the world, she still kind of wanted to do the travel thing. She still kind of wanted to do her own thing. And I'm over here being, homestead, let's build a nest. And boom, it just didn't work out. But, like, I respect that now. But, like, and I always, like, love that girl, and I would always want her to be my best friend again someday. But, like, timing wise, it did not make sense at all. But I had a lot of shit to figure out on my own, because I without getting the ECT treatment, and then what I've been through from April to now, I wouldn't now, because, like, I've always been, like, the world's best dad, but I've never been the world's best husband. Like, I'd be like a 5 out of 10 husband, but 20 out of 10 father. So now I get to, like, regardless of what relationship I do enter it next, now I know I'm a 10 out of 10 husband. So let me figure that out. But honestly, like, because I grew up, this was always kind of like, it's either sexual appetite or money that becomes, like, the ultimate divide. So for me, I always just tried making it easy, because before I met her, I was in this relationship where I was a stepfather, and we moved fast on that too. But I moved fast on that because there was a kid involved. and meeting the kid, hearing about the situations, about baby daddy, this, that, I was like, that baby's going through trauma. We're gonna fix that. So like, let's get home. Let's get the baby. But me and that girl though, even though like we functioned good, like we split the bills, regardless, even though I was the money maker, but I'm crazy. So like, she's got to manage the money. Like, I'll build an empire, but I need the wife to manage the empire. So she was a good manager and good this and that, but like on a her and I alone connection, bro, we weren't fucking there at all emotionally or spiritually. Like that wasn't my person at all. Like, but I was so committed and deep in that relationship because of the child. Because again, I was more ready to be a father than I was to be a husband. So like the fact that I did actually like find my wife, like yes, but also yes, they got their own lives to live and got their own shit to figure out. But I do want to bring up the finances though, because when I did find the love of my life, the big thing was she always like it was secretive of her money, like her money and her money business was her business, which I fully respect. But when it came time, like okay, we're living in this house, we're very transparent about bills, and now we're like doing shit, and we're a little more open about, you know, maybe you can pick up a phone bill and I also pick up this, that, whatever, or we can split this, split that. But there's multiple times where I was just like, look, I need you to manage the funds for a minute, or let me direct deposit to your account and like figure it out. No, and like the fact that that was such like a instant turn off. But instead of like trying to work it out and come to a common ground, it was just like, no, avoid, leave, and I'm over here like, but you're the only thing I need to survive. You're the only thing I care. So like that's when my broke up. But I bring up money though because like my parents, my grandparents, I see friends all the time. Even when I was a stepdad relationship, finances was always kind of like a core root. In your relationship, you don't got to tell me business or numbers or percentages, but like when did you guys start having like open conversations of like moving in and like financial transparency to a degree?
So, well, you know, this is gonna be so.
We both
my girls are really. I mean, right. My girls originally from Ohio, right? And I'm originally from Vegas. So when she moved out there for a job, we met. But you know, I was right out of the show, and I was doing my thing, and I met her outside the show, and I'm not gonna go into like details of how we met.
Yeah.
And we just started dating for maybe like a month or something, and she was like a nanny. She was like an indoor nanny.
Okay, cool.
You know, and then on Thanksgiving, you know, towards Thanksgiving, she started telling her bosses like, "Hey, I kind of want to live on my own. I kind of want my own place and all this." People were like, "Oh yeah, that's fine, it's great," you know. And then they fired her on Thanksgiving.
Jesus.
Right. And I had my own little place, but it wasn't a great place. It was like in the ghetto, right?
Yeah.
So, but this is just like me by myself. I didn't have a lot. And one, I didn't want her to move back. One, I didn't want her to be homeless because that's not good.
Right.
And two, you know, I didn't want her to move back to Ohio because I didn't want her to feel like she like failed or something. So I was like, why don't you just move in with me? And we were only dating for 2 months at that time. And so I was like, we move in with me until you find a job and find your own place. So we moved in 2 months of us dating. So everything just came in fast. And when we sat down and we laid everything on the table, you know what I mean, when we were first dating. You know, our likes and dislikes. And, you know, I'm just a straightforward shooter. I was like, well, I'm not dealing with financials. Just something I'm not going to do. I was like, I will make the money. I have no problem keeping a job. I have no problem working. I hate my job, but I have no problem working it to make sure we have money. Right. And I was like, but you have to take care of financials. And she agreed to it because she came from a family that weren't good with financials, and I came from a family that wasn't good for financials, but I'm very anal about we're paying the shit on time. We're not having any late fees on anything.
Yeah, we're not getting the electric cut off. Yeah.
Exactly. Or being homeless, because I've been homeless 3 times in my life. I ain't gonna do it a 4th time.
Yeah.
It's just not gonna happen. And I was like, you got to be the one to take care of the financial stuff, and then also trying to figure out what this relationship was. You know what I mean? Also at the same time, And we just laid our cards down, and it was very simple of us living together, but we didn't know how to be together at all. You know what I mean? And I, at that time, wasn't a man enough to be the man she wanted. At because I was giving her 80%, but I wasn't giving her the full 20.
Right.
You know, and vice versa too, her the same way. So when we figured that out, but again, it took us a long time to do that. It took us at least up to 5 years to kind of understand with one another, figure out one another, and be together at the same time.
Yeah.
But also my fears, because commitment is I hate commitment. It's just I have a fear of commitment. I don't like commitment.
Yeah.
But sex and money is the two foundations, right?
Yeah.
I'm a sexual person.
Right.
Some people are not. You know what I mean? And I was like, I will not be in a sexless relationship.
Period. Yeah.
Ever. We can do once every 3 days, twice every 4 days. I don't. But we are not going to be this.
Yeah, this ain't gonna be tough. Yeah.
Right. But ever since, she's always took care of the financials. She has access to my bank account. You know, so when I get paid on a certain day or I get paid from a show, I put it straight into my bank account.
He gets the deed.
Right, and I was like, "Did you take the money out? Because I will not spend a dime until that money is out."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and then she's like, "Yeah, I'll take it out." Or if she hasn't, I look at my bank account and hasn't taken it out, I'll call her up. Even if she's sleeping, I'll call her up and like, "Hey, did you take it? Did you take the money out?" "Oh, I'll do it right now. Do it now because I'm not spending shit."
Yeah.
So that's all. If you lay out your cards, so she's always been the person to do it. I took care of my financials. That was fine when I was single.
Right.
But if you're going to be in my world and I'm going to be in your world, we need to understand things. You take care of the financials. If you can't do it, and I got to take over it, we ain't going to be together.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So that was the major gist of it, and she's been doing a fantastic job with it ever since. You know, because she understands the importance of it. Because we come from those both backgrounds of our family members were a bad example of taking care of money.
Yes.
And we learned that from them, and we became very anal about money. So we were like,
my problem was I'll just go personal first, but in that ex relationship, it was the same thing. I came from money problems. She didn't. But like, also, I'll point this out on the record. Like when we finally like officially broke up, she kept like saying how privileged I was, and like you saw the house I grew up in. You know, my family's trash because of finances. So like now I'll segue into the personal. So like seeing my mom, this is because I love my mom, you know, and I saw I knew about financial stress at an unhealthy young age, and because of that, though, yes, I was privileged. In fact, like, let me tell you about privilege. I had the privilege to understand money buys happiness. I had the privilege of having to work and support and provide. I had the privilege to know how to make money and understand how the universe works and how to understand how business works and how networking works. And I had the privilege to understand all that because I already told you my IT career, but even before that, dude, I was a poker professional. Like I was making big bands off because basically money was the root of all the problems, but also money was God. Because when money was there, it's Disney World, it's horrible money management, but mentally ill people, you know. But I was always there to like, let me just bring the money, and like, I have a deep understanding of life where it's like, you don't die with your money. Like, money is just a tool for existing, and it's a tool. Anyways, but I've always, because of seeing my mom struggle and living in the struggle, like it's always very important to me, not just for my mom and my family, but for like my kids when I have kids, to have that financial stability. So that's why I was always on the mission of I'm really good at making money, but of course I was a degenerate and horrible at managing money because that's, hey, when we have money, let's go to Disney and be broke again. And then I carried on that family trait, but I luckily did realize at 30 that, I'm terrible with money, and I need someone to manage the money. But I just, but like I'm just, I'll make all the monies in the world, but I need someone to handle it. So Philip,
dang, y'all still cooking.
Philip, you actually came in. I started spiraling out of control. When did you?
Why don't you feel about? I'm gonna take a leak real quick. I'll be right back.
All right. Yeah, we'll wrap it up probably like in 10 anyways. But we're on the topic of, because he's engaged. He's in like a 10-year relationship. He's about to get married.
Oh, exciting.
We were talking about marriage. We talked about men's mental health. We talked about marriage. But like I what I've seen so far with like good relationships, you're living with each other. His bar is not a happy wife, happy life, but a happy house, happy spouse.
Ooh.
The bar, right?
Love that.
So I asked him, like, not so much details of like dollar signs or exact expenses, but like when did financials happen? Because I think, especially in the male perspective, but I think the initial dating and becoming serious, what's going to kind of like make and break the relationship is sexual appetite and finances.
Yeah.
So I guess like, you're married, you have a kid, you have one on the way. Like, when did, in your guys' relationship, like, was there a moment when you guys were transparent about bills and individuals, or was it just like, hey, we're on this joint mission, this is how we're going to do it? Like, kind of guide through those conversations, because I grew up in all my family, divorce is all money, promise. Money, promise.
Yeah, for sure.
So like how did you guys, how did the team
how did the team happen? Man, so for us, luckily, my wife is very, I guess, like type A and knows how to budget. She grew up learning about money, and she was very conscious of it at all times. And it allowed us to talk about that pretty freely, pretty early on, about budgeting and about finances. So then when we started living together, obviously we had the same expenses. And the way we decided to do it was we had a joint bank account, but then we had our own separate bank accounts. And then we would figure out our own budgets based off of our paycheck about how much that we are going to be allocated to put in to that joint account to make sure all the bills are paid and all of the,
that joint account that's what takes care of the castle.
Yeah, that takes care of the castle, and then we have our own accounts where we have our own spending that we can do and do with what we will. And she stayed on that sort of day-to-day expenses things, and then I started to get obsessed with investing. So then I took on the long-term stuff as far as stocks and crypto and stuff like that to help supplement the savings. So then now my job is like, okay, we have our savings account, but I know we can make better yield over here, and to explain to her why I'm investing in the certain things I'm investing in. And she keeps up on, where our savings are at, where our spending is at, what needs to go to what. She's really good at, okay, if we put in this amount a month, that's going to cover the water bill for the next 3 months, so that we don't have to think about, okay, the water bill came in, what do we do? It's more like, okay, we already have an account for that. We just take that and allocate it and send it off. So it made the stress of that a lot easier for us. So yeah, nice. I do think it's super important. I am a big advocate of have your own accounts and then have a joint account rather than have everything in one. I think that can get messy.
That's literally how when I was in the stepfather role, that's literally how it was. We had the castle funds that we both had access to, and then we had our own separate stuff.
Yeah.
And that's how it, and like when we go shopping for food for the household, we had a mouth to feed. Come out of that joint account, like the castle stuff is castle, but dates or vacation or extravagant, that'll come out of my account, and I'll just pay that with my shit, and then like she can focus on her kids' shit and future kids' shit. Exactly. Yeah. I love that joint and separate.
Right.
Yes and yes.
The yes and also, yes.
I was gonna make this a jujitsu analogy, and then I realized that it ended up being pretty racial, so I'm gonna go ahead and say it. But when it comes to finances and couple finances, I feel like I'm a white belt, which is like introduced to jujitsu. My man LJ's a brown belt, which is like right before black belt, and black belt is master.
Mm-hmm.
But then I just realized, wait, white belt, brown belt, black belt. Hold on, am I just racist? I thought I was in jujitsu.
Yeah, no, I think that stuff is super important. It can cause a lot of stress. So being like upfront, even I think really about the debt is what can stress people out. Because like, yeah, you can take care of your expenses, you can take care of your savings, but like being in tune with what's my car note, what's my student loans, what's this medical bill, like, because if that's all on one person, like that can be super stressful and really take down a relationship, I feel. So
exactly.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
I understand that too. Me and her, we have that too. Like we have the house stuff just in case stuff happens, and then we have our own account that we could, if we want to buy something, we'll buy something. But yeah, nobody touches the house money.
Right.
And then she has like little like other little saving things too. Like like right now we're saving up. Well, we're almost there, but our money also goes into the wedding fund or a vacation fund or also got my car note fund, car note thing, and the house bills, or just in case some shit happens, and her car note. It's just like this is all the stuff that she does, and I'm glad she does that because I don't think I could ever come up with those types of things.
Yeah. How many Excel sheets we have is ridiculous.
Yeah, she's all over the place. Right. Right. And I'm just like, yeah, no,
sure.
Do that.
How much money do you want? Where do I put it?
Right. Exactly. It goes in my own bank account, and she's like, oh, I just took this much.
Yeah.
Like, that's fine.
Cool. We still living.
I'm gonna use this money to drink. It's fine.
Yeah. Daddy's got a parlay to hit tonight. All right. We got an 8-leg football season. Come on now. Caitlin Clark needs to hit the over. Now, I'll end on this because I couldn't wait to ask LJ that question. Couldn't wait to ask Philip that question because, like, this conversation doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Like, even with, like, in close friend groups, like I'll ask, like, a guy who's, like, a brother to me, hey, this, that, nah, man. Or, it's good, man. But, like, I think these conversations need to be out there so people, because, again, like, you could be with the legit love of your life and you could have a financial stress, but, like, you need, like, people need to be able to see other dudes having conversations of, like, no, this is what normalcy is.
Mm-hmm.
This is how you function. Because,
Right.
like, what happens is, like, event happens, car wreck, this, that, this, boom. Now what? Fuck. Like, being able to, like, be trained, because the common theme here is everyone's been kind of like transparent about what is your relationship with money like on both sides. What is your goals? How are we going to manage this? Let's manage this. And like, yes, because LJ was talking like, be your own person, have your own hobbies, have your own funds, be your own person, but also we're here at the team. Like,
yeah, it's got to be a team effort.
And like, I mean, am I naive? Like, are people having these conversations, or do you guys not hear these conversations and they just need to happen more?
Well, I'll let LJ answer that before I go in.
I don't think it's happening as much often.
Yeah.
I don't think it's happening like, oh, this is here, because I have great friends and they don't really, like, guys, they don't even talk about this. They don't even, they're like, oh, what's your aspect of money, or over here it's more like, my wife did today, and I'm just like, yeah, I got that. Women be crazy. I
When you have emotions, fucking gay.
Yeah. I'm just like, so, who does the financials? I'm not all here to get into that kind of thing. I'm just here to drink beer right now. Like,
and I'm only drinking beer because my wife saw me about making all these 20-leg parlays. I don't know, she's crazy.
Yeah. Bro, women be crazy. She told me I can't spend this on this. I'm like, you guys got your own. You got your own money.
On rent, and all of a sudden she's mad at me. What? Something?
Bro, Or I'm just like, you guys got your own money or not? Oh no, happy wife, happy life. I give her all my money. Yeah, like okay, all right. So I don't think these conversations are happening as much. They should, but I don't think it does. It's just like anything else. Like there's have to be a pillar for it to be a foundation to go up that way. You know what I mean? Like the old heads talk about, happy wife, happy life, and I'm over here like, no, happy house, happy spouse, and you should see these guys' face when I say that. You don't do that. You don't know. No, it's just, or like you and her argue. I'm like, yeah, sometimes. Do you pick your battles? I pick all the battles. I'm like, man, I pick all. You can't say that. Or like we had this conversation about this thing, and these husbands were at this barbecue or whatever at the here, and I'm just jokingly, I'm just like, my fiance say something, and I was like, shut up, bitch, like just jokingly,
Yeah.
And these guys, you should never call her that. You should never say that. I've never called my wife that. Are you kidding me? Never. LJ, how could you say that? I called her a bitch like 3 times the other day. Oh no! It was like, it's your two people are different people. You know what I mean? It's your best friend. You know what I mean? Like you couldn't call her that. I can call her that because we're best friends. We grew this relationship into that.
There's context around it.
Exactly, and it took 11 years to get us to that point. I'm not gonna go back to that. Or we never were like that. But you know what I mean? And so for that, I feel like those conversations need to be a starting point to those type of pillars for a type of change, and kind of take away those modern things as like a married man or a man in a relationship or a female in a relationship. You keep the traditions, obviously. There's some things I can't do that my fiance can do.
Right.
I could. And there's some things that she can't do that I can do. Right, traditional roles, but you could always fix them up.
But like that's the thing too, though, is like because what I see more, it's either like you're super old head traditional, like old school traditional about things, or there's just this new like I don't need none of that, or I'm independent. I do my own thing. Like maybe like it's strange, crazy times. Like. Yes,
no happy medium.
Also, like you cannot bring that energy into a relationship. And the second you start doing that relationship, you're gonna lose a good guy. You're gonna lose a good girl. Like, like you have this best friend, but she's fucking weird about this. Like, nah, y'all need to be able to work that out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the real power couple stuff. Like, it's not all about making money and moving up in a career and starting taking over the world. It's also like I can be real with my partner about what's going on in my life. And they can be real with me, and then we can take over. Like, it doesn't work on the surface. It's in the mental. It's in kind of that spiritual realm that you were talking about before, where you have to get on that same wavelength as somebody for it to work out. Because I love that, happy house. I mean, happy. Wait, sorry, say that again. Happy
house,
happy spouse. Happy spouse.
That's the name of the podcast.
Yes, that's gonna be the name of this one. I love that.
Well, happy spouse, happy house, but whatever.
Yeah, I guess either way.
But did you have anything you want to promote, shout out, question, any last thoughts?
Yeah, put your tags in there.
Okay. Follow me on my YouTube, LJ World, all on my platform. Obviously on my Instagram, it's that too, and what's that?
We'll get your links on this video so people can check you out.
Oh yeah. Definitely do that. I'll send that your way. And then on Bandcamp, I have a second album I produced myself coming out on September 6th, so tomorrow.
Oh, hell yeah.
Well, congratulations.
All right.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for coming out and staying a while. This is our longer ones. Usually they're not this long, but I definitely would like to have you back if this was cool for you, and hopefully we can bring you out to Ohio, do some shows. It'd be nice,
Definitely be game for it.
Yeah. They have the family. You can be with us knuckleheads, goofballs.
All right.
I mean, from the conversation we have, you're my type of people. So
Perfect.
All right. I love that. Well, thanks for your time. Okay, definitely be in touch. And if I good luck on the wedding and everything, man. That's crazy.
Yes, good luck. Good luck.
And congratulations to you, Philip, for having another kid.
Oh yes, I am gonna be more tired than I already am, and I don't know how that's gonna be possible.
That's why you're so calm. Okay.
Yeah. I don't have the energy to be up. Well, cool.
All right. Well,
thanks for
thanks,
coming out.
Love.
Thank you, Maxwell. Thank you, Philip. Thank you guys for having me.
Yes.
Thank you,
Peace.
sir.